Hey everybody, welcome to our free training. Now I am having an issue with Facebook. For some reason, could not log on my business page, and now I am logged on, but I cannot see you on my computer screen, but I can see you on my iPhone. So I want to take a few seconds just to give you guys a chance to hop on. I apologize. We're supposed to start 12 minutes ago, and I do not like, starting things late because I value everyone's time. So I apologize. Thank you for waiting for me. I am going to take a few seconds just to share this in my private online community. Now, if you do happen to hop on live, let me know. Maybe send me a thumbs up or a heart, or just let me know if you can hear me well. There you go. Okay, so the sound is working. Let me know if you are tuning on live. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I'd love to. So I apologize. Thank you for waiting for me. Sorry, guys. That's me. Okay, so yes, we are going to get started. I hope you guys are having an awesome Thursday so far. And if you are brand new to my page and to me, welcome. I am Christina. I am a busy mom of four. I am an early childhood educator by trade. I have my ECE diploma. I actually finished college back in 2001 and then went straight into the workplace. I started working in preschools, after school programs, home daycare. I also did a few childcare centers. And I quickly started to realize that working for someone else in someone else's center was not what I was meant to do. And in 2004, I decided to venture off into entrepreneurship, to go into business for myself. And at the age of 24, my business partner was 22 at the time. We both just went all in. We quit our jobs and we just took a leap and we made it happen. So 15 years later, I am still the owner of a successful childcare business. And the most important thing that I want you to know is that I actually operate a childcare business that aligns with who I am, what my values are, and what I believe in. And that I think is so important than anything else when you are working with children and when you are planning on, opening and operating your own childcare business. So a couple of months ago, I decided to create profitabledaycare.com. It's a website that I go in every single week and I add value. I add teachings. I create free guides and templates, all in hopes to inspire and encourage any aspiring childcare business owners to take the leap, to jump, and to really step into the employer role. Because I truly believe that, early childhood education is such a dynamic field. It's an amazing business to be in. And when you do it for the right reasons, it is really, you really feel blessed in your life when you have found the right team, when you are serving your community, and when you know deep down that everything you're doing is aligning with who you are. So that's a little bit about me. I am in Montreal, Canada, and I'm excited to have you guys here. So today's topic is a fun one, and it's one that I love talking about because this is what I get asked a lot. Christina, how do I start a daycare? How do I start a childcare center? I love working with kids. I have my diploma. I have all this and that. I am working in a daycare right now that I absolutely hate, and I could definitely relate to that because I have worked in daycare centers where I hated the culture, the team culture, the coworkers I was with, and, things didn't align with me and who I was. And it's really, really hard, and it's a bad position to be in, especially if you are very passionate about what you do, your work with the kids, and you're in an environment that is not allowing you to thrive, to be creative. You feel as though, things are not flowing the way they should. And on top of that, you have the daycare director boss from hell. I've been in situations like that, and it's not fun. So I get asked all the time, how do I start my own daycare business? It's something I've been thinking about. How do I do it? And I love talking about this because as soon as I start, opening my mouth and start detailing exactly what I did, the roadmap that I took, people kind of get overwhelmed. They start getting stressed out because it's a lot of information. And I'm not going to deny that it is a lot of information, but you are opening a business. So thinking that it's going to happen overnight is not a possibility. It's not real. So you need to pace yourself. And when you ask the question of, you might be thinking to yourself right now, what do I have to do to start my own business? Maybe how much money do I need? How much time is it going to take? What kind of paperwork is needed? Blah, blah, blah. It takes time because you're running a business. You're starting a business from scratch. So of course, there's things you need to consider: laws, rules, regulations. There is money obviously involved if you are opening a business and you are committed in making it a reality, and to making it thrive. There are things that you need to consider. So today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what it takes to open a daycare center or a childcare center, if you prefer calling it a childcare center. And these are just 6 points that I will briefly discuss. I have a downloadable. It's 14 pages long. I have created it and it's completely free. So feel free to click the link. I'll post it in the comment section after I finish the video, and you could just hop on over and download it and print it out and just go through it. So briefly, the very first thing, the first point you need to check off your list is the law. Do you know the law? And when I mean, do you know the law, it means you really have to visit places, call, go online. There is no lack of information, not in today's world. So there's no excuse. If you are curious about something, what do? You Google it. If you are committed in opening a business, what do? You Google it, you start calling places, and you start getting informed. So the first place you would call is your state or your province if you are in Canada, and you would talk to someone in the child care service department and ask all your questions. Now, every single province, every single state, completely different, right? So you need to be aware of that. But there is information out there, and the information is accessible. All you need to do is either pick up the phone or go online and get the information. Now, when you do get the information, what's going to happen is this: you will feel completely overwhelmed and feel that you are not good enough to do this. You might get overwhelmed, you might get stressed out looking at all these laws and thinking of, how am I going to make this work? Just take a deep breath, take a step back, and just calm down and sit down, make some tea. Yes, Melissa, the MFA with the place to call. Take a deep breath, grab some tea, and just, you need to put this in perspective. You are opening a business, and your business is kids, right? Preschoolers. So of course, there are going to be laws that you need to follow as a child care provider, but also as a business owner, right? So it doesn't stop at the government. You really have to start thinking about municipality laws, your bylaws, town, city, wherever you're from. Everyone has something to say when it comes to offering care to kids, right? So you need to make sure that you do all of that. You get yourself a binder, you print everything out, and you sit with a highlighter and you start reading and reading and reading. So this is what I actually did when I started, my research when I was 24 years old at the time, and I knew that I wanted to do this, but I also knew that I had to respect the laws, right? So I called my province, because I'm in Quebec, and I asked all the questions. I went online, I downloaded all the booklets, and keep in mind that rules and regulations do get updated quite often. So just make sure that you either maybe enter your email if that's a possibility, so that you could get the updates, or you just keep checking once a month or once every couple of months, just to make sure that you're well updated. And I just printed all the information out, and I just went through the entire thing. It was completely overwhelming. It was very long, but it was kind of empowering as well, because I knew, okay, I had a map, and I knew exactly that, okay, this is what I have to do in order to make this a reality, right? So that's the first step. And after you're done with your state and your province, you need to make sure you go to your city hall or to your county, municipality, and see if they have rules that you need to respect, because chances are they will. So after you know the law and everything is all clear in your mind and everything is highlighted and you have questions and your questions have been answered, Second thing you need to know is your location and your market. Now, this is a toughie because this actually entails that you do some market research. And when I say market research, it does not have to be difficult. It doesn't have to stress you out. It can be as simple as Googling, the area that you're looking to open your center in, and seeing, is there 5 daycares open already, or are there 5,000 daycares open already, right? So that kind of thing. So you really start researching, start driving around, looking in areas where you think that they would benefit from your service. Now, another way to do that as well is asking, right? Asking people, going into community centers, churches, local Facebook groups where mommies and daddies hang out. And again, local. And you just ask the question. You could even create a free survey online and ask those that are interested if they could take a couple of minutes to fill it out, so you could start seeing that, is there a demand or is there not a demand? Because the last thing you want to do is invest money and energy and your time to open up something that you will, a couple of months or a couple of years down the line close because there's no one there's no one there. There's no customers walking in the door. So I don't want you to do that mistake, obviously. So know your location and know your market. Is it a newer area? Is it under development? Are there young families settling in? Is the average age of, the people that are living in a town 70, right? So there's a lot of things you can think about. And again, it's just a lot of getting out there, asking the questions, going online, Googling everything, and the information is out there. So after you know the market and you know your location, this will actually give you an idea as well as to what kind of center you want to open up, right? So if you want to open up a center that is, I don't know, let's say after school program, or maybe you want to open up a childcare center that's like 50 or 100 places, like has the capacity to fit 50 kids inside. You need to make sure that when you're doing your market research that the questions that you're asking are really focused around what type of center you want to open, right? So you're not going to be asking questions of, let's say, would you be interested in after school program if you are planning on opening a preschool, or you're planning on opening a home daycare, or maybe you're planning on opening an actual daycare center that's open from 7 to 6, right? You need to make sure that you're directing your questions and that they're related to exactly the type of center you want to open. So that's really important. Now, after you've done that, and you're comfortable with your location, the market, you see that, yeah, there's a demand there. It's legal setup. Now, again, another thing that you need to do, there's no way that you can escape anything legal. In business, specifically in business, you are obviously a daycare provider, but you're also a business, and you will have staff working for you. You will have to pay taxes, business taxes, workers' comp, and all that stuff that comes when you open a daycare center or any type of business. So legal setup, you need to start thinking about your business entity and the type of center, this type of business that you want to register. So a corporation, an LLC, a sole proprietorship, or a partnership. So there's a lot of legal terms. Again, the best thing to do is Google, and of course, contact a lawyer that can give you legal advice, pros and cons of every single business setup out there, with taxes and the money that you have to start up your business is another thing that you have to consider. So just make sure that you ask all the questions and that you decide on setting up your business legally, in a way that meets your needs and your business's needs. So that's the other step. Really fun stuff, business stuff, but fun stuff. And again, you'll see how everything comes together. So after you've done that, then you've done all the legal work. You know your rules, your laws, everything is up to date. You've zeroed in on your location. You have an idea of what type of center you want to open, how big it is. You really crafted that vision. Then it's budget time. Then it's really working the numbers. And again, another area where it causes a lot of stress when we have to really put the numbers down and see realistically, is this a possibility? Do I have to wait a year or two? Maybe you have to tweak your plan a bit. maybe have someone start the center with you, get investors to come in. So there's a lot of things you have to consider, and you have to be realistic, because you don't want to stress yourself out to the point where you're taking, let's say, money out of your family. You're basically taking food off the table to make this a reality, right? That's not what we want. So we need to be smart. You need to know your numbers. You need to know and feel comfortable with your financial situation as a family, if you are a family, and really just discuss and really feel comfortable with what you put down on paper. So obviously you're starting a business and you will need startup fees. Again, this is a very developed area, so I'm just walking through this briefly, but I do have another training on startup fees. I'll post the link under the video, and I go into more detail in that training. So, but I do want to say that when you are writing your budget, once you know what kind of center you'd like to open, it's a bit easier to start focusing your budget, according to your business. So, for example, if you're opening a home daycare, you will not need the same amount of investment, let's say, to start up, as if you were going to open a center that has like 50 or 60 places, right? So very different right there. Pros and cons in both, but you need to know your budget. A few things to consider. So if you're renting, or if you're buying the building, right, or even if you are buying an existing center, or if you're buying a franchise, you'll have to pay back the loan, the mortgage, and all that stuff. Cash flow for your first few months. So, for your staff, electricity, just to really keep your center open in the first few months, there's operating expenses, right? So we can't get away from those. You need to make sure that you have thought about those in your budget. Professional fees. So again, you will have to consult with a lawyer, a notary, an architect to help you with your plans, contractors, people to renovate the center if it needs work, plumbers, electricians, all that adds up. Again, keep it in mind when you're doing your budget. Special permits that you have to pay your city or your town for. And then obviously the layout, the classroom layout, right? So getting your plans from an architect is one thing, but then actually making that into reality also adds up to your startup costs. So, breaking down walls, painting the floor. And once the layout is set, then you need to think about furniture and equipment and material and software for your office and, security cameras and just everything else that goes with running a business. Things to think of, how many washrooms you're going to have, if you're going to have a teacher's lounge, all the educational material that your staff is going to need. Are you going to have someone come in and train your staff? Another thing to consider. So as you can see, there's a lot of things that go behind knowing your budget. But again, it's really important that you put everything down and you do the work. So kitchen setup as well, all those appliances, your staff. So you start thinking about schedules and income and wages and all that stuff that comes with running a business. Advertisement is another thing that we'll get into a little bit later, but advertisement also, before you open your doors, you need to start thinking about what's your budget to advertise your center. How will people know you exist, right? So website creator, ads in your local paper, Facebook ads, Google ads. So there's a lot of things like that go into this. And then again, obviously, if you are going to hire a consultant to help you set things up. And lastly, outdoor space. So your yard, your fence, the grass, the toys, the slides, all that stuff, fun stuff, but important stuff that goes into knowing your budget. You need to have an idea. And again, it doesn't have to be detailed to the penny, but you should have an idea as to what every service costs. And this is as easy as really just calling around for prices. If you are renting a space, this can be a great area that you can actually negotiate with the landlord. Tell them, like what we did when we first started out, we actually negotiated the renovations where the landlord renovated the entire space exactly, as to our requirements. And we actually paid him off slowly after that. So every single month, he would add a small amount up until we paid off the renovation. So don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to be assertive. You are a business owner. You're opening a business. You're offering a service. And ask the question, what's the worst that could happen, right? So especially when you are, you're looking around for lawyers and notaries and architects, ask ask questions, ask for referrals, ask for reviews from other people that have used their services, and then just see what the best option is for you and your business, right? So after that is done, then it's setting up your day-to-day operations. And this is my favorite thing to do, because this is when you start really seeing your dream come true. This is when you really start feeling, like I made it, I did it, like this is mine, right? My dream is coming into reality. And as you know, when you start seeing your center being built, you start seeing, like all the possibilities, and you just really get excited. So what does it mean when I say setting up your day-to-day operations? Well, there's a few things to consider. Hold on. Okay, so there's a few things to consider when you are when you're setting up your day-to-day operations. Think about things that you want to put in place before your business really takes off, that are going to make your job easier, that are going to make sure that you are bringing in quality staff, and that you are bringing in quality customers, because you've done all this work. You have a vision in your head that you know exactly, what kind of service you want to run, what kind of people you want to serve, and your center should not please every single human being that passes in front of it, right? So you have a specific audience or customer that you want to target. So when you are crafting anything that has to do with systems, policies, procedures, anything of that nature, always keep in mind, what's my vision? What feels good to me? Does this align with the center's mission, with our educational program? Does it align with who I am as a business owner? Does it feel good to me, right? Because you don't want to be doing all this work and then just when it comes to setting up your day-to-day, feel as though, we'll just put anything out there and whatever sticks, sticks. Or even worse, copy someone else's policy booklet or team handbook, and just think that you won't have any issues in the future, because you will. I have done this mistake when we first started out our business. Again, I was 24 years old and I had no idea how to do any of this. Like, I had no idea how to create policies and procedures and the team handbook. I mean, I was just excited to be a boss, and I just thought that I had made it in life. And when we started coming up against roadblocks with my business partner, we kind of stopped ourselves and we started looking around, into businesses that were open longer than we were, and that were thriving, and that looked like they had everything figured out. And we thought, what are they doing that we're not doing? And then we just started asking questions and started realizing that we didn't have clear day-to-day operations. We didn't have policy booklets or procedures for things that were so important, that could basically free up our time and make the center run smoothly. So whether we were in the center or we weren't in the center, that things could still roll, and people would know exactly what they need to do. So a few things to consider when you are writing your when you are creating your policy, your day-to-day operations. And when I say day-to-day operations, what I mean is setting up policy booklets, your procedures, your step-by-step things that you expect everyone that steps foot in your center to do or to act on. This is really important, and it is a lot of work, especially if you've never done it before, but it's also important work that needs to be done, and it's something that needs to be done well. It needs to be developed. And again, this is something that as your business grows, as you grow as a business owner, it's going to get better and better and more detailed and more focused, and you will update this probably once a year, if not more. So setting up day-to-day operations. So things like your policy booklet. So a policy booklet is a booklet that you would give to any paying customer that walks in your center, that actually signs up to be a part of your program. Policy booklets have to be developed. They have to have an overview section. They have to basically tell the customer, this is what we believe in as a business, right? A little bit about you, who you are as the business owner. But then it should detail to your customers that this is what you believe in, and this is what you don't believe in, and this is what you expect out of them. So basically, for example, if this happens, then this is the policy, and these are the procedures that we will follow. And it's very dry. It's not supposed to be something that's really, you know, sugar coated. It has to be dry. I believe it has to be dry. It has to be to the point. You're not there to write a novel, right? We're not there to write this huge novel with like clip art everywhere to impress someone. No, this is a serious document. I call it it's sacred. It's a sacred document. It's kind of like your Bible, that you refer to this every time there's conflict, every time there's an issue, there's a concern, a question. You know that you are working within your policy booklet, and this is what you stand for. This is your mandate, and anyone that, you know, walks in your center needs to abide by it. If not, then they're not the right fit for you. So that's one of the systems that you need to set up. The other one is your educational program. And again, I set this up as a different booklet because there's so much you can do in an educational program. It's not just curriculum, meaning that we do art and, you know, Play-Doh and cutting and all. No, it's educational program is so much more than that. And if you are someone that is working in a center right now that is having a hard time following someone else's program because you don't believe in it, because it doesn't make any sense, because it's not developmentally appropriate, I've been there, and it's really hard when you know that you were taught a certain way and you believe a certain, you know, theory or philosophy, and you work somewhere where they don't really have a specific philosophy. Like basically you feel like anything goes, and you know, everyone's doing exactly the same thing, and it's not something you believe in. So when it comes to your educational program, you're really just laying the foundation of your center, the mission, your beliefs, the core values, and how your staff deals with certain situations. You talk about your guidance techniques in there because that's a part of that as well. So guidance techniques, how you deal with conflicts between the kids. What is your philosophy on that? Do you believe in timeout or not? And why, right? Back it up with a little bit of theory, but mostly just examples, because we are talking to parents that are trusting us with their kids. So I don't think that they want to hear theory. I like to think that they want to read something like, if, you know, so-and-so, if two kids bite each other or whatever, there's a conflict for something, this is how our staff is trained to take care of it, right? This is the mission we believe in. This is the guidance techniques we believe in and we follow. And then just give a few examples. Along with that, I put other stuff in there, like your health and hygiene, right? It's a big one, communication, and a bunch of other stuff. So again, this looks different in every center. It's a very developed booklet as well, but it's really important because if you don't have a clear vision when in terms of your educational program, if you don't know what your center believes in or what you stand for, then it's really hard to hire the right staff, and it's also hard to serve the right types of clients, because if you're writing something down that doesn't really align with who you are or what you believe in, and then you're bringing in staff that's kind of aligned with it, but not really, because, you know, they get the sense from you that you're not really in tune with it, then it just makes everything worse. You need to be clear on this. And I'll give you guys an example. When we first started our business, we didn't have an educational program. I mean, we had an educational program, but at the time I thought it was just, you know, a very small mission statement and just programming, meaning what we did on Monday, we had yoga or science or cooking classes for the kids. And when we hired our very first staff, right, our first educator, she was working in the toddler group at the time, and we had nothing that mentioned anything about guidance techniques. And we hired this person, and she started working in the daycare, and we had a huge issue with the way she was intervening with the kids, because it wasn't aligned with what we believed in. Now, how could she have known that? We hadn't written anything down. Like, it was just what I felt inside of me, what my business partner felt, and then it was her, and she was just, you know, reacting in a certain way that she thought was appropriate, I guess, you know, from other centers she was working before. And when she walked in our center, she started acting certain ways. We knew that, okay, we need to clarify things because this is not a good match. It's not going to work. And we ended up letting her go because of this. But we learned that in a way that was our fault, because we hadn't really put anything down on paper. We didn't have systems in place. We didn't have examples. We weren't really clear on what we were looking for in terms of our staff and the team vibe and the culture we wanted, you know, in our center. So with that being said, make sure that when you are writing your educational program, make sure that it is detailed, that it doesn't consist only of, you know, free play and we do art on Monday. Just make sure it aligns with who you are. Make sure that you do the research and that you create a document that you're proud of and that you can refer back to. So when you are hiring, you know that whoever you're bringing in your center aligns with what you wrote in your booklet. So it's really important. And another day-to-day operational booklet that you need to have is your team handbook. And that is basically a booklet that you are going to give every single person you will hire in your center. Again, updated most probably every year. And this is really where you lay down all the descriptions, responsibilities, roles, sick days, wages, payroll, just everything is in this booklet so that your staff knows, for example, if they want to take a day off or if they are sick, they know exactly the procedures that they need to follow because everything has been detailed in your booklet. So that's amazing. Let me see if I missed anything else. If you have any questions, guys, feel free to write them in the comment section. And if you are watching this later on and you do have questions, feel free to come back with your questions. I'll go back tonight and I will answer them. So I think that was it for your day-to-day operations. And the last thing that you have to have set up when you are opening your center, and this is going to be something that you will be doing every single month after that, is having a clear marketing strategy. And this is where you are basically keeping your business out there alive in front of eyeballs, in front of your ideal customers, in front of your community members, because you've done the work, you have this amazing program that you want to follow, you want to offer to the world, right? Your daycare is set up, so now you need your customers. So in daycare centers, obviously you need to know that you need customers to be coming in and out, especially in the summer months when people start leaving for vacation and then they kind of disappear in September, or in fall time where, you know, your older kids start going to school and you need to start replacing. Whatever the case is, yes, you need payroll for employees. If you could guide us. Renuka, I'll get back to that a little bit later on, okay? What was I saying? I lost my train of thought there. Oof. Hold on, guys. Let me take a sip of my smoothie. Yes, marketing system. Now, marketing strategies do not have to be super difficult. It could be as basic as having a budget to have Facebook ads running every single day for 30 days. You could get Facebook ads for $1 a day. It does not have to be difficult. It doesn't have to overwhelm you. You need to have a website. You need to have a Facebook page. But the Facebook page, really, the focus behind that is really just to have a Facebook ads, because Facebook requires you to have a Facebook page. If you want to place Facebook ads, you can do it from your, from your personal page. But it should not be your only focus. Like, Facebook should not be the only place that you post, let's say in mommy groups that you have kids, that you have places for kids. You need to have a clear strategy. You need to be set up with an optimized website. You need clear pictures on your website. Maybe you could upload your program or your your educational booklet or whatever you want to upload on your website. A lot of fun things you could do on your website also is automate things, right? So you can have, let's say, people registering off of your website, or maybe you want to run you want to have your wait list on your website, so that if a customer does land on your website, they can, instead of calling you, just go in, look through your program, look through your pictures, get to know a little bit about you, and then just place their child on your wait list, right? So there's a lot of things you could do. So our website is one of the things that you need to be investing in every month, right? And it's not expensive. And it doesn't have to be updated every single month, especially if you don't have a blog or anything like that. But again, it's important that you have. And then just have a clear strategy where you're going to be showing up every month. How are you going to be posting? Let's say if you have job availability, or maybe you're hosting an amazing open house, or a fundraiser, or whatever you're doing in your center, you need to have a place that you are publicizing this. And yes, Facebook is great for that, especially if your friends can actually share your events. But learning Facebook ads is so important. I actually had a beta group go through an online program I'm going to be launching soon, where I teach all of this. I teach childcare business, and I had my marketing expert go in, and he actually walked all the students through an introduction class, how to log into your ads manager and how to place a Facebook ad. And he really catered it only to daycare businesses, which I thought was amazing. So learn Facebook ads. It's not as difficult as you might think. And again, as a business owner, you'll see that things are changing. You know, when I started off, marketing for us was really placing classified ads. I mean, Facebook and all that wasn't very big at the time, or I wasn't really on it. And again, it's like 15, 16 years ago. And that was our marketing strategy. We would have open houses. When we were looking for staff, everything was posted in our local paper. And again, it was expensive. It was like $200-300 for 2 weeks. Now, $30 a day could get you a Facebook ad, so that whether you're growing your email list or whether you are announcing to the world that you've added an extra classroom and you're looking for kids to fill up the class, you can do that on Facebook, targeting your ideal audience. So you could target your town, the moms in your town, parents with kids that are under 5. You could target your audience that lives in your community, that shops from a certain store. So it's just amazing. It's really cool. It's fascinating, actually. There's so much you can do with Facebook ads, but you need to have a strategy when it comes to your marketing, because competition is everywhere, right? Unless, like I say this all the time, unless you're running a program on planet Mars, there's competition everywhere. So you want to stay ahead of the game. You want to be fresh in people's eyes. You want to be out there. You want to be in front of the right eyeballs. And if you can do that for $30 to $40 a month using Facebook ads, do it. And again, you don't have to be publicizing that you have spaces available when you don't, but you could publicize other things, such as put your child on our wait list, right? Or just other fun things that you can do. Or maybe you can publicize. There's a lot of things you can do with Facebook ads. It doesn't only have to be, fill up a list and, we'll call you because we have a place available. There's so many other things. You could direct them on your website. They could actually go on your website and look through your program, especially if you've uploaded booklets on your website. So much easier for the parents to do. Place their kid on the wait list. Just 1,000 things you could do on your website, but have some kind of strategy. So when you're opening your center, you know that every single month this is set. It's automated. You don't have to touch it. All you have to do is verify it once a week, and it helps. It helps keep that steady stream of customers coming through the door, which is what you want, because you have an amazing service to offer, right? So let me see questions here now. Again, guys, if you want a copy of this, I will post it in the links. And again, I will also post the one that I had done, a Facebook a training on startup costs. And I actually broke it down in much more detail. I'll post that in here as well. If you haven't signed up for my newsletter, go over to www.profitabledaycare.com. Just sign up for the newsletter. I actually send a copy of everything that you see here to everybody in the email list every single Thursday. So you'll get it tonight. So go up, sign up for that, be on the list. Let me see the questions here, guys, before I log off, because I have been on for a while. Let me see here. So Melissa, yes, you have to go to the MFA for sure, and then you have to go to your city as well. So Melissa is actually local. She's in Quebec, and the MFA is basically our provincial government. She was asking if she had to go there to sign up, to get information. If she wants to open her own center, that's where you start. And again, your province, your city as well, because they all have bylaws you have to respect. Renuka said payroll for employees, if you could guide us. Okay, so a staff salary management. So Renuka, what exactly are you looking for? Like, I don't understand. Like, can you just clarify if you're still live with me? Like, how much are you asking? How much to pay your staff, or are you asking for software when it comes to payroll? If you're still on, can you just answer? If not, I'll go back tonight and I'll see what you meant, because I'm not sure. I know there's a delay, so I'll give you a few moments. Maybe not. Staff salary man. Oh, Oh, software. Well, where are you from? Where are you from? Because in my business, I use Simply Accounting, which is not very it's not very fancy, you guys. But there are so many fascinating softwares out there, especially in the last few years. I feel like they're blowing up everywhere when it comes to daycare. Now, depending where you are from, I know in Quebec, the government actually has complete management. Actually, I have one that I was looking into because I wanted to I wanted to see what it was like just so I could refer it to students. Oh, what was it called? Not Hi Mama because it doesn't do I think it was called, are you looking only for payroll, or are you looking to, you could do like attendance and billing and communication between the parents and the teachers? Because I think I had found one that did all of it. Like it did payroll, it did your billing, it did attendance, the kids files, everything was in there. I'm gonna find the name and I'll post it below because I forgot it. But I had a tour of Hi Mama. It's a software. Amazing. I was so impressed, you guys. I was so impressed. Oh, we use Wave apps and it's free. Payroll is an add-on, but it's inexpensive. Oh, there you go, Renuka. You can check that out. So referred. Angela just referred one that she uses, and I'll post underneath what I have found. I know that Hi Mama doesn't do billing. I think it's called Sage Childcare. I think that's what it's called, Sage Childcare. And it does billing and it does payroll, which is boring, and it does all sorts of stuff like that. But the ideal would be, I think, that if you find one software, because some of them are really expensive, especially if you start payroll. If you find a software that can actually take over and actually do communication and kids files is in there and allergies and just everything, attendance, that would be amazing. So I'll get you the name, Renuka, and I will post it in here. So that's it, you guys. I feel like I've been blabbing on and on and on. I have been really excited because I am working on something really cool that I will be posting about in the next few days. So I will post those 2 documents, PDF downloadables, underneath this video. Go over to my website, sign up to be in my newsletter and my email list. I send emails every single week, so you will stay informed. So even if you miss the lives, no worries. You will get a copy of it in your email. Thank you for the reference. You're welcome. So that's it. I hope you guys are having an awesome Thursday. I can't wait to see. Yes. I can't wait for you guys to hear about what's going on with me. But I'm gonna talk all about it next week. I've been super busy about it. But it's really exciting. It's really, really exciting. So, I wanted to share a picture with you guys. I was digging through my stuff and I found the very first daycare center I worked at. Oh, this is the daycare center that scarred me. So when I finished ECE, I was 21 years old. I was 20. I was very young, and I was working with a 4 or 5-year-olds in a daycare center that actually was in a school. And is that a question? And she, the director of the center, was like the boss from hell. Like she was the boss from hell. Okay, so I went in there working. I was excited. I was finished my classes and I was so excited and energetic. Like I would wake up in the morning, jump out of bed, drive to work. Like I thought that it was always going to be like that, right? And that was the dream. Like I really thought I had found it. This is what I have to do. This is what I'm meant to do in life. And this is the best daycare to work at. It was a daycare that was in an elementary where I actually went when I was younger. So that was pretty cool. So it felt familiar, right? And I was comfortable with everything. When I started working in a daycare, however, wow, it was a completely different story. So nothing aligned with with my beliefs. Like the staff gossiped, hated each other. Program was just non-existent. We basically had to do art activities every single day. And it wasn't a center that necessarily believed in art, like it wasn't an important part of their program. It was just close-ended art activities where everything looked the same, and I had to produce this every single day, okay? And every time I would want to venture off and do something fun that I had learned in school, or like a science activity, and I would research all sorts of stuff, it was always no, 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 you're not supposed to, you're supposed to do this all the time. Anyway, so the program sucked. The staff themselves was just horrible, but the boss was the boss from hell. So when we had to plan the 4 or 5-year-old graduation party, right? I had a budget, because this was really important to my boss, to show to parents that we actually invested a lot of money in the graduation. So the graduation cost her at least $25,000, and that is ridiculous. Thinking back now, after having my own center, and having had, like, I've done like 15, 16 years worth of like preschool those are graduation parties. Wow, like $25,000. It was all about that. It was all about what we could show, and it was a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. No one was happy. The kids weren't happy. The staff wasn't happy. And it was a lot of pressure. And then at the end, we had to take a picture, and we had to wear the cap and the gown with the preschoolers that were graduating. And I found my picture the other day, and I started laughing so hard. So I don't know if you guys could, I don't know if you could see it. Let me hold it up there. Can you guys see it? You see me? Those eyes were filled with hopes and dreams that were quickly shattered by a boss that was a boss from hell. Ridiculous. So that was my story. I wanted to share it with you guys because I found it the other day, and I feel like it was important for me to work in this daycare, I think, because I got the sense of what I never want to make anyone feel like, ever, in terms of being a boss or an employer. And I really had the best model of what my center and my mission and my business would never be like. So I guess that was a blessing in disguise. So anyways, I wanted to share that because I was staring at it, and I thought you guys would get a kick out of it. So I hope you guys are having an awesome Thursday so far. Tomorrow's Friday. I will post those links in the comments, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.